Nigeria. Keep watching YALI TV.
I'm Adikalias Kamara from Sierra Leone. Keep watching YALI TV.
My name is Absa Samba, a correspondent from the Gambia. Keep watching YALI TV.
I'm Milam Leticia, correspondent from Cameroon. Keep watching YALI TV.
I believe in you.
It's your boy Eko Boche, corresponding from Ghana. Keep watching YALI TV.
I believe in Africa. I believe in Africa. YALI, YALI, YALI. YALI, YALI, YALI. Young African leaders. Young African leaders. YALI, YALI, YALI. YALI, YALI, YALI. Young African soldiers. Young African soldiers. YALI, YALI, YALI. YALI, YALI, YALI. Young African leaders. Young African leaders. YALI, YALI, YALI. YALI, YALI, YALI. Young African soldiers. Young African soldiers. YALI, YALI, YALI. YALI, YALI, YALI. Young African soldiers. I believe in Africa. I believe in Africa. I believe in Africa.
I'm Eunice Emmanuel Bagi, the correspondent from Nigeria. Keep watching YALI TV.
I believe.
I'm Adikalias Kamara from Sierra Leone. Keep watching.
In Africa, it is 11:39 GMT from Accra, Ghana, and we are streaming live from Blue Crest University College, Kola Street, Kokomeme, Accra, West Africa. It's such an exciting moment for us as we run up the first phase of our YALI 10 anniversary programs. This program has come as a result of the celebration of the 10 years or 1 decade of the establishment of YALI, the Young African Leaders Initiative, which was established in 2010 by the US government as a signature program to groom the next generation of leaders on the continent of Africa. As a result of that, a number of training programs, namely the Mandela Washington Fellowship, the YALI Regional Leadership Program, were instituted, with the YALI Network also instituted to give an opportunity for other young people to have access to leadership. A whopping number of 650 young Africans across 49 African countries are benefited from this network, with about 21,000 granted opportunity to train in the United States, Ghana, Kenya, South Africa, and Senegal. I'm excited to be your host for the program today. My name is Stephen Selassie Esio, and we are on the day 2 of the Young Africa Media Summit virtual edition. I have my first set of guests present already. We've been here having some brief discussions behind the scene, but let me use the opportunity to give you a highlight of what the Young Africa Media Summit is about. The Young Africa Media Summit is a 2-day virtual professional mentoring and empowerment program that has been instituted to groom YALI alumni, YALI TV correspondents, young Africans working in the media, PR, and communication space. The conference has so far had a number of discussions. It was initially meant to have plenary sections, working sections, as well as idea-thons. But due to the COVID-19 pandemic, we had to change the phase of the program to have in-studio discussions to cover the various aspects of this program. This event also will be, or is being used to celebrate the World Television Day, which was on 21st of November. And above all, it's an opportunity for us to hear from other young people what they have achieved in their space with their practice to inspire you. And later on in the program today, we'll be launching the Young Africa Media Fellowship, which will be used as a vehicle, as a conduit to empower, to mentor, and to have exchange programs regarding media, communication, and PR in the year 2021. I'll go straight away to engage our speakers right here. I'm super excited to have 3 young Africans from Ghana. We'll be having another coming in the course of the program before we have the second set of speakers. I have in the studio Ishu Chawe. It's good to have you. All right. We also have all the way from the Volta region of Ghana. We have Mr. Victor Apollo Jube. It's good to have you. He's a YALI fellow and one of YALI TV's correspondents in Ghana. We also have a beautiful lady who is masked up for precautionary sakes. She's in the person of Efwa Grace Asumani. Am I right? But someone. Yes. It's good to have you.
Honored to be here.
Yeah. So congratulations to you, YALI fellows, for our 10 years anniversary. I would love you to introduce yourselves. With the ladies first, so we'll pick it up from you, Grace, and then from that we'll speak to Apollo, and then we'll come to issues. So tell us about what you do in the media space and a little bit about yourself.
So I'm Grace, as he said. I'm a digital PR strategist and a content writer. Currently, I freelance for companies that want SEO content for their websites. So I've also worked with the media space for a number of years, and in the digital aspect, in news. Yes, so that's what I do basically, and that's where I draw my experience from that I'm going to share with other young Africans across the world.
Interesting. So Apollo, could you tell us about what you do in the media space and a little bit about your leadership experience as well?
Yes, thank you. I am a broadcast journalist, and I've been in the media space when it comes to radio for about 7 years. Currently, I'm the morning show host at Kingdom FM in Ho. Kingdom FM has a number of radio stations, and Ho is one of the youngest places. Tomorrow we are even launching our 1 year. Yeah, so that's what I do. When you put that aside, I also do a lot on digital media. I am interested in digital media a lot because I want to see data being shared, data being made accessible and available to anyone who wants it. I am interested in making sure that the digital revolution coming in should be able to involve a lot of people, and especially Ghanaians. So that's what I do.
Wow, that's very interesting. I come to the man with a very nice hairdo. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, and your practice, your experience in the media space?
Okay, so for the past 7 years, I've been on social media, looking at the ins and the outs of it. I've worked with separate companies. I've done separate jobs. I'm mostly into branding when it comes to social media strategy, to get something out there, to push this, to push that. Most parts of social media advertising.
Mention some of the companies we want to know who you are.
Okay.
You guys have been very modest. I wanted you to mention names and mention years, and I mean, it's an opportunity to sell yourself as well. So
some of the notable companies which I still work with is Despite Media. I handle the social media aspect.
Okay.
I'm part of the team that handles the social media aspect. We are just, I think, 2 or so. And then there's UTV, OKFM, and the rest. And for some of the personalities in there. And then I handle PR on social media for Hima Messi, some notable pastors who, because of the nature of their work, I wouldn't want to mention the names.
That's fine.
And some other very major gospel musicians we have, and even the secular musicians we have. I think I've done quite small work.
That's big.
And then let me add that I also handle GhanaArticles.com for online news and broadcasting. Like, I try my best.
That's impressive. You know, as young people, one of the very important qualities that I really revere among us is our humility, especially from Ghana. But it's also essential without our achievements, because we are the only people who can tell our story the best. And when we have platforms like this, I'm super excited to always ensure that the young people that we get to interact with always highlight what they do. One way or the other, you might just be inspiring someone somewhere who is watching to come out with what they think they are doing that is in obscurity to be what will bring them out into the limelight. So I mean, even though I appreciate your modesty, I want you guys to be very come out, highlight what you do so that you inspire someone somewhere, especially you. All right, so our discussion for today is based on digital media in Africa today, the way forward. And to go into that discussion, I would like us to have our first statement coming from one of our partners in India. He's in the person of Dr. ShahidSiddiqui. He will make an initial statement. Once my producer is done playing that, we'll come back in studio and we will have a discussion. So if you're ready, let's take Dr. Sadiq's statement.
I'm very happy to be here in Young Africa Media Summit 2020, and it's really very good opportunity for the youths from not only from African region, from across the world, who can learn, who can understand the new way of the media, how it is evolving in this current scenario when the whole world has been shifted towards a new innovation, new technology and new way of life. The 21st century sees content creation being held and led by many more content generators. The internet has introduced a fantastic opportunities for our creatives. Today, when Africa's image in the media is often distorted, one-dimensional view that sees the continent only through a prism of war, disease, poverty, starvation and corruption. This single story has had massive effect on many African youths. Nobody is pretending that Africa's many serious problems should be played down or ignored, but the rest of the world and the Africans themselves need to hear the good news stories as well. Africans in particular need to take ownership of the positive narrative to become ambassadors of positive things. At Young Africa Media Summit, we want to change the African single story, and I'm very sure about this opportunity, that this platform, that Young African Media Summit, will be a game changer for the African media space. If you remember from the era of apartheid, what carried the voices of the most South African was alternative media, not necessarily the mainstream media. I think the narrative even today will be the change by those who are not in the mainstream media.
I believe in Africa.
That was the initial statement by Dr. Siddiqui. If we have the opportunity, we will connect to him all the way from India. Dr. Siddiqui is the president of the Association of Social Media Professionals globally, and he has been he and his organization have been very enthusiastic about promoting the use of social media in promoting content across the continent of Africa and the world. I'll come back to our speakers here. What is your take on the advent of social media over the past decade or so in promoting content, in the carrying of news, as well as in the telling of the African story? Because you realize we are in a time of our generation where telling story has become very diversified. People are able to sell themselves, especially during this period of the lockdown. We've had so many celebrities being unearthed as a result of social media, just by churning out their own social media content or their content on social media, either on TikTok or Instagram. They've been able to become socialites or media personalities overnight because they were able to produce content that was geared towards the demand of the people demanding comic materials, entertainment information, and so on and so forth. So I'd love to ask you guys personally, in your practice, what is your thought on the advent of social media in our current generation? I'll take it off from you, Issue. In your practice, you work with a number of people. What do you think is the advantage for Africa to tell a story with social media?
Well, social media, I would use a very recent, activity that took place in Africa, especially West Africa, as an example, like the NSAS protest.
Okay.
Now, without social media, nobody would have heard anything was happening in Africa or West Africa for that matter, because they would have regulated how the media reported that particular incident.
Okay.
Now, casting your mind far back as when I started on social media, that's back as far back as 2007.
Okay.
How many people were on social media? How many people knew there was something like Facebook?
Right.
And how many people wanted to be on Facebook? And for what reason? Now, when you take your mind back, you realize that around 2007, only about I think 5,000 to 10,000 people were active in the Ghanaian region as at that time, as far as social media is concerned. Now, if you take your mind back more than 13 years later, that's 2020,
right,
you realize that internet, even just the internet users in Ghana are like 14.76 million. How many people are in Ghana? What's our population? We are about 30 million plus.
Yeah.
So if 14.76 million are on the internet, not social media, but the general internet, it means that half of the population of the country are actually watching and can talk and can access information and
right,
can be able to communicate remotely. You get me?
Yeah.
So it means that we are able to do certain things we weren't able to do as far back as 2007. So the advent of social media has helped us, to connect. You understand?
Right.
And now 14.76 million people are on the internet. If we are to vote on the internet alone, if you are to elect a president on the internet alone, we can. Because how many people registered for did the voters registration? You understand what I'm saying? So it means that if we are just to select presidents on the internet, we can do it and it will be justifiable for Ghana. You understand? So social media in itself has helped us, has helped us connect and make certain things that are to be controlled and confined.
What would either have been censored is open to.
It's open to everyone to see.
Interesting.
Restricted.
Interesting. We'll go for a quick break. We'll be right back, and then we'll take the take of our other guests.
I believe in Africa. I believe in Africa.
I'm Eunice Emmanuel Bagi, the correspondent from Nigeria. Keep watching YALI TV.
I believe.
I'm Adikalias Kamara from Sierra Leone. Keep watching YALI TV.
I believe in Africa.
My name is Absa Samba, a correspondent from the Gambia. Keep watching YALI TV.
So, welcome back from that short break. So, we have our fourth guest for the first panel in the studio. It's good to have you, Alfred.
Good to be here.
Alfred is the morning show host on that's 3FM. He's also a news anchor on TV3, one of Ghana's primetime televisions, and he's also a Mandela Washington Fellow. He's someone who has really inspired us in the media space, not only in Ghana but across Africa. It's good to have you.
Good to be here. Thank you.
Yesterday I watched your your show, which was the debate.
Yeah, absolutely.
And one of the parliamentary aspirants.
Yeah.
It was great. Very, very, very rowdy, chaotic,
absolutely,
but very controlled, and that's what I really enjoyed. And
Thank
it's
you.
one of the qualities that really inspires us. Thank you so much for what you do.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
So back to you, Apollo. As we were discussing earlier, what do you think is the advantage from where you stand as a journalist in one of the regions of Ghana, to say one of the provinces of Africa as a whole? What is your outlook when it comes to social media or digital media in Africa today? Looking at yesteryears where there was no Facebook, YouTube was on the low, we didn't have Instagram, we didn't have Twitter, but today we have all those platforms. Now we have blogs, which are even more louder than some of the traditional media channels. What is your take on social media or digital media in today's Africa?
Thank you. I'll be basing most of it on digital media.
Okay.
I want the broader aspect. One of the things we should know is that in every situation, change must come one way or the other. And digital media has actually changed the face of reporting, the face of journalism. There were days where you see people going in for the newsstands, but
Right.
today
For newspapers and all.
for newspapers and co. But today you sit with your phone the whole day and you are okay. You get whatever it is, news and co. You get anything. The importance here is accessibility. Like I said in my intro, the most important thing anywhere else is for us to be able to access, is to be able to tell our story. And I don't know how many people would have been able to tell their stories through the traditional media if not for digital media. For instance, what we are doing over here, this one example, one piece of digital media. I don't know how we would be able to sit on TV if not for digital media. So my take is a very simple one. The media space is changing and digital media is actually becoming the core of it. It is as if it is becoming the pivot. You watch how things are. People don't even get enough time to watch their televisions. People are mostly glued to their mobile phones. People are mostly glued to the screens of their desktops and laptops connected to the internet. That is where we get most of our information. Well, it comes with its own cost and its own problems, but the advantage is that we are able to share, we are able to copy, and we are able to modify whatever information is put out there. So I think, yes, it is good. It is good. It is something we should all be trying to take part in. Because like I said, the revolution, we are moving from the industrial age, we are going slowly into the information age. And for the information age to be well established, it will come from digital media.
Interesting point. I'll read some points from the fifth Affluence Survey Africa's report, which was released in September 13. It says, despite internet penetration on the continent lagging behind in other regions of the world, Africa's affluent population has embraced digital technology more rapidly than their European counterparts. I would love to ask you, I mean, in Ghana, even though we have access to internet in the urban and peri-urban areas, you and I know that we have serious challenges with internet connectivity. How has that affected your practice over the years working in the digital media space? And I'd love to know which digital media space you work in, because you didn't mention it earlier.
Okay, so new media has opened up an independent platform for information. And like he said, and my other panelists also said, previously with print media, it's censored. It was usually censored by political parties. But in the case of digitalization, it's open now. People can consume, create content anywhere, anytime, without any rigid legalization in place.
Restrictions
in place.
But now we have restrictions from Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube.
I think it's necessary. Like, there's pros and cons to everything. Two sides of a coin, always. It's necessary because as human beings, we tend to overreach our capabilities or whatever we are supposed to do. And in my area, as a digital PR strategist, you're able to reach brands more. We're able to advertise for our clients more, and it's cheaper and affordable compared to previously. You had to go and buy ad space in the print media, and you're not even sure you're going to sell all the newspapers. So how do you even evaluate the data? How do you look at foresee how your
reach
message,
and
the reach and the impact. It was tedious. It was tedious. But with digital media, you can do all these things. And also, when you look at looking at the low cost or cost effectiveness of digital media in the PR space, we have SEM, SEO. For those who don't know, SEO is search engine optimization. It's growing your content organically. So I'm an SEO content writer. If I should write content for your website, I'm making sure that it appears at least on the first 3 pages of Google. So I'm practically helping your article or your website to rank higher on Google search. And it's also known that most people don't go beyond the first 3 pages on Google search. I mean, if you can't find what you're looking on these first 3 pages, you're going to move on to the next person, and it's free. So when you search for a word on Google, and the very first article that comes up, I'd say, and the one on the side, they are paid for. That's SEM. It's paid for. And even with that paid for, the advertiser does not pay unless you click on it. So you just bid for ad space and it's there. So unless the person clicks for it before you pay for it. So I mean, it's really cost effective, and the rest below them is organically generated. So you don't pay to reach your audience. You don't pay to reach your target audience. So when it comes to social media in the PR space, it has been a blessing. Because we can manipulate. With the print media, it's all about pictures and words. Now we have videos, we have animations. We can engage our audience much, much better.
And even get feedback. Which is very important in our work. You wouldn't want to run a social media campaign and at the end of the day, you don't know how many people view, how many clicks. You can't go back to your clients and go like, oh, this is what we did, this is how much I spent your money, and this is the return you're getting. Sales were boosted by this percentage. You can't do all that with the print media. So interesting. But the place of internet connectivity, as I was reading from the report, plays a key role. For instance, one of the challenges during the programs that we had earlier was connectivity, trying to connect speakers from the different African countries. At a point, we were having issues that we had to just make them do pre-recorded videos for us to have smooth connections. And also in some other African countries, it's very expensive to access data. Don't you see that being a challenge to the practice? It is a challenge, but it doesn't stop us. Or it's not stopping the growth of the internet or social media. When it comes to focusing on the PR space, even if one person has internet, word of mouth works faster for us too. I mean, you believe what your friends said about a brand than what a celebrity is endorsing about that brand. Interesting.
So when you're going to get something, you ask, oh, you saw Nanama doing the Hisense video, but you went to Kwaku's room and saw him using a Hisense fridge. So you go to Kwaku, how is it like? And that will go much more deeper into informing your decision in your buying process than the celebrity. So it's a challenge. It's a new space we are discovering, especially for Africans, and looking at how developmental issues also go to. It's a new space, but it's totally working in our favor at the same time.
Interesting. Alfredo, you are in the traditional media space, and per reports and research, now traditional media houses are veering into the digital space to reach more. And actually there's proof that the traditional media channels or stations are actually reaching more viewers or more followers through digital media. What has been your experience being in the space?
All right, thank you very much. And that's really true, because research by the researchgate.com, the last time we checked, about some 6 months ago, indicated that traditional media on a scale of 1 to 100 is patronized by just 55%, a drop of about 30% in the same period last year. So there's a growing army of patrons of the digital space. And for me personally, and where I work at TV3, we acknowledge the evolution that is coming into this media space especially. So what we have done is to leverage on the advantage of the digital space. So instead of losing out on viewers and on revenue, which you mentioned, because a lot of advertisers are now cutting down their budget to traditional media and sharing same budget on digital advertising. So for instance, not to mention any brand, say Bluecrest, because we're here.
Yeah.
If Bluecrest used to spend 60,000 CDs on advertising on, say, traditional media, now because of the growing patronage of the digital space, you would have them cut their budget by, say, 50%. So they do 30,000 on traditional media, 30,000 on digital media space. Here's the reason why, and all the speakers have touched on it. It's very easy to measure the reach and impact. If you put a video on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube, you would know the number of people who have viewed it. As against you now paying another research company to do a research on traditional media and their reach and influence, right? So you have just a couple of research companies, Geopol and others, put out data about which traditional media is the best watched or most patronized. It's on that basis that a lot of these advertising companies, make their decisions on where to place their adverts and which time zone to place their adverts. There are limitations to the digital space, and I think that the previous speakers touched on a number of them. Access, and you mentioned it as well. Access, reliability, and affordability. It's just, the reliability bit is the experience that you share.
And at the point, even credibility, because anyone can just hop on and start broadcasting.
True. And in terms of access, here in Ghana, you have the NCA and other bodies put out statistics about that's mobile phone penetration. What we don't do is to break down the statistics to understand exactly what that means. So if we say we have like 50 million people having access to mobile phones, we don't know if it's across all 16 regions, whether it's one person per mobile phone that they counted, because a lot of people have 5, 3, 2 minimum mobile phones. Right? And even the iPads and other things that we use also are connected to one SIM or the other. So if you go to the telcos and you take their data and you tell me that because they say they have 80 million subscribers, it means that's a reflection of how people are hooked onto digital space, that's wrong. Okay, so all of those things, in my view, are some of the limitations. And these people who dwell on such data are aware, some are not. But the threat to traditional media is clear. And you either innovate or die. And that's where, for me, I am happy about what I'm seeing. Not only at TV3, I can speak of other media houses in Ghana who are also evolving. So for us at TV3, we have created a digital department altogether, which is creating digital content for our other digital platforms. So you have short videos, instead of, even though we stream the full news bulletin on Facebook, you'll have some short videos that people can easily click, like 30 seconds, with what happened at the IOSO West Wagon debate yesterday. It was a 3-hour debate, but we had just 30 seconds, 40 seconds videos that went viral. Okay, people, and as she said, people would like to rather spend less time and get all the information than, because they are thinking about their data too, right? And so how precise, concise, and straight to the point your message is what wins in this space. So yes, in my view, I think that going forward, it's going to grow because we are going into the information age, no doubt about it. And as to how we balance between traditional and digital media will determine the media houses that will stay afloat and still stay relevant in the coming days.
Wow, very interesting points. You know, in this mix of the opportunities, the challenges, vis-a-vis the new technology, is you're going to have upgrades in the next couple of weeks, months. I mean, some months ago, how many people knew what Zoom was? But today, Zoom can actually boast as one of the biggest digital media platforms for communication and information transfer.
True.
So I'll ask you, Issue. You have been in content development on digital media space for some time now, for 7 years, as you said. For the young African, what is the opportunity? I think I'll break it along the speakers. What is the opportunity for the young African to make a living as a professional in the digital media space? If I create my content and I put it out there, what is the assurance that what I'm doing can be a practice or a profession?
Source of living.
A source of income or a source of living for a young African somewhere in Botswana who just saw your profile, heard your profile, and then wants to do what you do. So use your experience to give us some insight in that.
Okay, so I'm actually a poet. Okay, so when I started out by looking at ways to promote myself, because I realized that the poetry penetration in Ghana is very low. So I went on SoundCloud, for instance, and then I went to learn about SoundCloud, how to penetrate with music, especially from this side of town, and then how to download, upload stuff, how to format the stuff you've uploaded so that it reaches the people, the target audience. And so I realized that no, there's more to this. Aside SoundCloud, I can do other things that would bring the traffic to SoundCloud. So what do I do? So then I started exploring. For the first 2 years, I spent not less than $600 on Facebook alone. When I say Facebook, because they own Instagram. So joint alone, without knowing what I use the money for.
Oh.
I can't account for it.
For ads?
For ads. I had several accounts blocked because I was trying out certain things. So I don't use my main account. I have several accounts I've created that I use to run ads for reasons that maybe if the discussion gets there, I would reveal. So along the way, I realized it. So back to your question, you ask yourself as a young African that what problem are you solving? Just like the traditional media came to solve a problem, came to position itself in the way of a solution to a particular problem.
Bridging the
information gap. So what exactly are you doing? There should be something that brings the attention. Like he's saying about TV3 putting out short videos. That's what we do at Despite Media. So I'm part of the team that actually look at what should trend, what shouldn't trend. And there are certain things that will trend, but you wouldn't want the public to consume that. So you actually intentionally take it out and then give them what should trend and then force it to trend. Force it to trend is positioning it in such a way that they would love it in the first place. So what are you doing? And from our side here, when I listen to people would want to start in a way, dress in a way to start it. All those things are good, but it's not about mostly now what I've realized that it's not about how you present the content or how you appear. It is just the information that the people need. People are on YouTube. I sleep at least the best time I sleep is 3 a.m. and you realize that it's either I'm on TikTok looking at how people are creating, not enjoying the videos, but looking at how people understanding how people are creating the content, and then going to YouTube. YouTube is also evolving with TikTok and with Instagram because they are in the competition now.
Right.
From the research I've made, let me dive a little. From the research I've made, in the next 2 years, Instagram is going to monetize, and so they are changing their systems. YouTube is also changing to meet up. So what are you doing?
Now YouTube has a status update.
It has status update.
Just like
Twitter has a status update. They started last month.
Interesting.
Yes. So the top high-profile accounts get to see it before the lower account. I think the lower profile account started rolling out yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah. So what are you doing? What exactly are you doing to solve a particular problem? I know a few people that run on local foods, how to prepare local foods.
Okay.
And I tell you, they can be making up to $2,000 a month just on YouTube.
Wow.
And that's if you know what you're doing and how you're doing well, how you're doing it well. You understand? Because I tell you, YouTube alone can be a whole profession for a lifetime. Just YouTube can be a whole profession if you know what you're doing and you know how to position it well and how to do it. You understand what you're doing. I'm telling you, YouTube can be a living
a source of livelihood.
And I can tell you, your YouTube revenue can pay about 20 workers in a particular company.
Interesting.
Yes. So it's just understanding what you're doing, solving a particular problem, and just solving it. Just continue solving it. People are looking for information. So and then one thing you need to understand is that you have to create content people want. You have to create content, or otherwise creating content you are going to force people to want. It's two ways. And if you are creating content people want, it means you are going to compete with a whole lot of people because everybody is creating content people want. But if you are going to create content you are going to force people to want, they are going to do a lot of investment from the beginning.
Right.
And then just like being a pace setter. You understand? So that's how.
Interesting point. So if you are tuned to us right now, this is the Young Africa Media Summit Day 2, and we're having a discussion on digital media in Africa today, the way forward. And he just shared some critical information with us. If you are watching, there's an opportunity for young Africans to really diversify across the various sectors. You don't need to just do news or entertainment. There is agriculture, there is technology, there is health, there's education. There are many sectors that need to be covered, and he just gives some nuggets of information. You can make social media or digital media a source of livelihood. I would love to find out from you, Mr. Jube. You are in the traditional media, you're on radio. Don't you feel threatened by a youngster who just comes in 2020 because everybody was at home due to COVID-19? The guy is a celebrity. You have been working for the past 5 years. People don't even know you beyond your community. But this guy just comes with his phone. He does some few content uploads, and the guy is a global sensation. Take for instance this guy who sang I'm a Goat. What's his name again? AY Poyo. He was an instant sensation. Within 6 months, he was global. He was all over the place. And these are other professionals like yourself who have been working so hard. You follow the ethics, you follow the standards of your practice, and you are still yet to be known outside the shores of Ghana. Don't you feel threatened by the advent of digital technology vis-a-vis the practice of the good old traditional media?
Yes, everyone will feel threatened once your livelihood is one way or the other about to be taken away from you. Alfred says something. He said, "Innovate or die." You see. So, what are some of the new ways people are actually putting their information out there? That is why digital media is. And the best thing is that it is not very censored, as we've all discussed. It is not restricted like the traditional media. Yes, we know you go to certain countries and some of the social media platforms are one way or the other being banned, but all the same.
Now we have fact checkers who, if you post something that does not follow guidelines, it will be flagged.
Yes, so you will feel threatened. But then the most important thing is that you wouldn't want to stay at one place for life. Once you realize this is what all people are doing, you know, this thing started, I remember, when people were actually using TuneIn to stream their radio programs.
Yes.
Then it got to a point people shunned TuneIn,
right,
and they started using other software. One of the things I was thinking of saying is about opportunities for software developers.
Yes,
someone realizes that TuneIn is making it, so come on, let me also create something. You can, like Issue said, you can actually decide to go how everyone is going. It means you have a lot of people to compete with. But then what if you can put something out there and people will be forced to want what you have put over you are putting over there? So I'm looking at it also from this direction where we have a number of these I don't know how many traditional media houses in Ghana now, at least the big ones, who are actually not moving into the digital ones, because once you remain over there as let me use it, a traditionalist, you are going to have problems. The world is changing. I keep saying this, and I didn't hear that. The world is changing, and we must also change with it. So yes, you feel threatened, but the threat will be from yourself. I think we would only be threats to ourselves. If TV3 is doing it, why would I not try to also do it and look at how to do it better in my own unique way? One of the things to do, and which is one of the problems with digital media, is where we can copy and modify. You can copy and modify. There you see people doing almost the same thing. I've been watching, excuse me to say, Teacher Kwejo and one other Kwejo guy. Yes, all of you know, they do almost the same thing, but they still have their audience. Yes, they still have their audience. So I think when you feel threatened, then you need to move. When the water is too hot for you, you just have to find a cooler one to move into, or else you will die over there. So like Alfred said once again, innovate or die. You will feel threatened, but you don't have to remain in there. If only you want to move ahead, then you need to look at what others are actually doing and moving there as well.
Okay, interesting. You know, the discussion is getting more interesting, but our time is also drawing closer and closer to an end for the next panel. So moving from Grace to Alfred, I'd love to find out from you. We've had issues with how the Western media tells the African story. Could digital media be just that innovation that we've been waiting for to tell our story the way we want, without waiting for CNN to come all the way from America to come with their crew to our towns, especially in the case of young Africans who are doing so much in the YALI space alone? There's so much going on, from community projects, social interventions, government engagement, policy advocacy, entrepreneurship and business development. So much is going on in the youth space of population or populace of Africa. Is digital media that solution for us to begin to tell our story the way we want to tell it? Ladies first.
Ladies first.
Yes, I believe digital media is the way to tell the African story now.
Okay.
Because as we've all spoken on the far-reaching arms of digital media and the internet, it's very, very, very important for the African to be out there telling their stories on it. So we just have to be mindful of what we put out there. I always say it. I always tell everyone I come across to, the internet never forgets. Never. So far as the internet is running, whatever you put out there is in a cloud somewhere, waiting to be retracted and used and reused and reproduced. It's always there. So whatever story you are putting out there about yourself, about Africa, about us as a people, we have to be mindful of how we construct it, of how we tell our story. So for us as Africans, young Africans, we should be very much invested in digital media. We should always learn. I didn't start from the digital side. When I drew my career plan, it was to just be a PR officer. And then I worked with Pulse Ghana, and I was opened to the possibility of digital PR. I had no idea. I wasn't taught in school. They just brushed on new media. But then I enter into this space and I'm like, okay, in a few years, the social media manager, the digital marketing officer is going to have my job.
And probably the content developer.
Yes, he's going to have my job. Absolutely. Because nobody's going to hire me to go and buy ad space in the newspaper anymore, or create a press conference anymore. If they can just have if the institution can put their press on Twitter, they can just put their press release on Twitter. Nobody's going to hire me to do that. So I had to think fast. I had to learn. Take courses on Google. Yeah, digital courses for free on Google, and you can also get certification. You always have to improve yourself all the time. As Africans, we cannot wait for someone to come and tell our story, for someone to come and do what we have to do. And you have to do it well. So to do it well, you need to improve, you need to learn. So I think the digital space is here to stay. It's going to get crazier and crazier as it goes. And you have to move with the trends as quickly as it comes. You never stop learning when you're in the digital space. If someone says, oh, I got this certification in 2010, by 2012 it's old. You're outdated. You need to always be on the move in our digital space.
Alfred, your take.
Well, I just want to add a bit to it. She said it all. I was actually scared when I saw a robot journalist. It's going to be deployed. Yeah, we should look out for him. So that tells you that even for us, our job will be extinct. All things being equal, if things stay the way they are. But
interesting, Alfred. Just yesterday, I was talking about photographer Bertel, and we're saying there's going to be a time where we even have robots photographers, so that we don't need. We will not say the photographer.
We do actually.
We have.
Okay. So
there's a system.
Obviously, I mean,
so it's getting interesting and scary.
So yeah, the digital or virtual space, the possibilities are endless. As to how, for young Africans, we channel those possibilities, I think all my colleagues have touched on it. It's important, because unrestricted access or unlimited freedom comes with its own disadvantages. And there are very good examples of how people, young Africans, are using the digital space to propagate the good things, not only about Ghana, but on the continent. I mean, go on YouTube. There's this gentleman who travels around, a young man. I don't know. I've been trying to remember his name. He's a Ghanaian, but he's gone all across the continent, and he's telling the African story on YouTube, and he has over 5 million subscribers or so. That is the way to go. You know, traditional media can do their bit, but there's a limited viewership for traditional media, admittedly, unless you are streaming the same content, you know, online. But even that, if you have something in the content that is not meant to be, you'll be flat.
And you don't have the freedom because there's a schedule. So you cannot show the same thing over and over again.
So
the frequency is low.
Honestly, I think that it is the value addition, number one, and the guidance. And I think we should be intentional about capitalizing on the advantages of the digital space. It shouldn't just be in it. In fact, there are countries that have invested in growing their youth to take advantage of the digital evolution. Where we are here, I mean, we're just talking. I mean, we're very good at doing so. So I am hoping that aside all the modules that every government gone by and present and yet to come are rolling out or intend to roll out, I haven't seen anything on youth in digital development or youth in...
Amazing.
There was some youth in ICT. When I went, all I saw was they doing hardware. Who does that? But I mean, we should just think, and I'm just hoping that all of these things we've said would inform someone about the pattern and where we're going as young people, and then be able to leverage on the energies and the passion, the abilities of the young people in this country and on the continent. Yeah.
Interesting. I'll add my voice to what you said. Honestly and intentionally, YALI TV with its partners, I can say for a fact, Bluecrest University College have agreed to roll out a program which we call the Young Africa Media Fellowship, which will be intentionally having some of these ingredients of information and grooming included, so that we will be able to develop ourselves to take advantage of the space. Because if someone can make as much as $2,000 a month, and this is his passion, the guy is a passionate guy who develops content. What is he doing working as a factory hand in a company that pays him woefully less than $100 a month? So it's important that we will take advantage of using what we have. We have the YALI Network, we have YALI TV now. We are using this as a platform. So just stick and stay with us. In the next couple of weeks, you'll be hearing more information. And in the second panel, I'll actually be having a discussion around that. We want to really use the advantage of what we have to get what we really need as a continent. Our speakers, I mean, it's been exciting having you. We'll love you to give your last words in 30 seconds or a minute each, what you want Africa to hear from you as a take home with regards to digital media.
If you ask me, I would be very frank with you again on the financial aspect, how important it is to know that what the digital media is doing now is to make you very, very rich if you are doing the right thing. And I'm telling you, I have about 6 clients that I collect revenues for every month that make make close to $3,000.
Wow.
Every month.
Interesting.
Yes.
That's
and
about that's almost like 18,000 cities.
I'm telling
Ghana
you.
cities.
And we have partnership with banks that are able to take the revenues for us, like, you know, very well. So that's what I'm saying, that like there are people who are making money for doing the right thing. And if you are doing the right thing, if you know how to do the right thing, and you are doing it and you are passionate and consistent about it, I'm telling you, give yourself 6 months, 1 year. A lot of people have to leave their job. There are a lot of people that has to leave their job. And if you want me to leave a last message, I would tell everybody to go to content creation. Everybody. has to look at the next thing the world is looking at, or else you'll be behind what the world, where the world is going. If you don't look at the next thing the world is looking at, you'll be behind where the world is going.
Powerful quote. Apollo.
Yes, like I said earlier, the world is changing. We are moving into the information age, and it's very important for us as young Africans to understand that if we want to stay 100 years back, it will be very woeful, not just to us but the generations to come. I am also looking at it that it's not just about the knowledge, it is not just about talking about it. We need all hands on deck. Government, what are they actually putting in place when it comes to digital media? We've seen a lot of investments in technology from other countries. Our government's doing same thing, and are they even the few ones they have put in place, are they actually directing it to the right place? It's not, we've seen where monies have been placed into things that don't bring anything to us. What if our governments move from that direction, look at the youth as a potential partner in development, not just about they wanting to get something from government, but what if government can use them to get all hands on deck for development? That is one of the things we are lacking. And also, I would also want to end with this, that it is important to go into partnerships. There are people who are very good with YouTube but not very good with Facebook. People are very good with Facebook and not very good with YouTube. What happens? Can these people come together, form a company? What would they do about it? And we see we've not been seeing much of this, because sharing the profits became the most important thing in bringing people together. And I think that shouldn't be it. Growth should be the issue, but not just about sharing the profits. Immediately the profits come. Thank you.
Interesting. Ifwa, your parting words.
Africa should not be afraid of change. Change is the only constant in everything. And as the traditional media is shifting into the new media space, we should be ready to embrace the opportunities and use it to our advantage. But should be very mindful of the other side of this coin in telling our story. Should not lose our Africanness, our uniqueness, trying to mimic other cultures and doing things the other way. We are still Africans. Let's go out there and tell our story the African way on this new platform called the new media. Yes.
Let's go out there and tell the African story our way.
Yes.
Alfred.
Just add on to it. I mean, that develop the passion. I think you said that, and be very open to learning, and be intentional, and let's all stay committed to growing ourselves individually. That's the only way we can collectively make gains from this digital space. Thank you.
Wow, and
I leave it to the poet. All poets have this afro hair.
You want to look like a microphone.
Yeah, like Wole Soyinka,
No, but I think I've had this question a couple of times.
Yeah, why?
But my hair has nothing to do with. In fact, I didn't know all poets had it until I did mine. Maybe it comes with what we do. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe
you don't have time
naturally
to
comes.
go to the like,
I'm not a naturalist. I don't just believe in cutting my hair. Yeah,
interesting.
You are denying the barbers.
Interesting. I mean, when this is what happens when you're having panelists who are media people. They just had their own section, and Alfred couldn't just do without being interrogative. Yes, a host for once. So we just ended the first panel of the day 2 of the Africa Media Summit, and it's been fun. As I said earlier, we have the opportunity to have a year-long fellowship which will culminate at the end of the year, next year, November by this time, with the Young Africa Media Summit 2021. So be on the lookout. We'll be having a discussion in the next panel on the Young Africa Media Fellowship. But before we go into the next panel, I would love to say once again a very big thank you to you guys for making time to be with us. I know, Alfred, you are supposed to be on air. I know you have a program coming up, issue. I know you are supposed to be behind your computer, and you left your morning show right here from all the way from Ho to join us in the studio. Wow. Very impressive. Thank you so much for the sacrifice you made. Our viewers, I just want you to know that there was a lot of sacrifice that was made for you to have the information you had. So make sure you take notes. Watch this program again and again and pick notes from everything that was shared. And I trust you. And I trust that out of the information they gave out, you'll be able to make a livelihood.
I think before we go, sorry to catch you.
That's fine.
I wish this thing is a big thing we are doing. This Young African Summit is a big thing we are doing. I just wish we are everyone watching is able to be committed to it very well. Even the people behind it, to make it happen here, be committed to it very well, because through this means we can reach a whole lot of people. We have no idea the impact we are making around the world. So please, I just feel like passing that information. I'm being honest, because I'm behind ads most of the time. I do 1 million reach ads every week, and I know like how things reach people, how people react to things, and I know how this thing is reaching some. If it reaches 10 people, we are making some serious impact out there. So I just feel like
he's a point.
Awesome point. I mean, just to add to that, this program is reaching the YALI Network, which is over 650,000 strong, and other viewers without the YALI Network. And it doesn't end here. That's a good part. We'll be doing a rebroadcast in December of all the programs we did for YALI Attend. So we'll be having a lot of partnerships around this fellowship to ensure that we have the right people. So you will be having to hear from all these panelists again in our mentorship programs that will be announced in January 2021. Thank you very much for staying with us. We'll be right back. What we're going to be doing now is we'll be showing some of the productions that YALI TV has done. We're also going to be giving opportunity to young Africans to develop content. There's a content challenge that we are having, which will commence officially from today and will close on the 28th of December. So you have the opportunity to visit our page on www.yalitvonline.com. We have a page, the Young Africa Media Summit. Go there. There is an application link. Drop your videos, drop the trailers of your videos, or just an episode of what you do. The team will be going through it, and the selection process will be done. We'll be discussing that when we come back in the second panel. But we have some highlights of some of the productions of YALI TV, and once we are done showing some of them, we also have a word from some of our correspondents. Once we are done with that, we'll come into the second panel. Stick and stay tuned as we go into that next
I believe in Africa.
Welcome to YALI TV, your premier television channel for youth all around the world. The Young African Leaders Initiative is such an amazing experience. And right here on YALI TV, you have had the opportunity to meet young Africans who participated in this program. We have lined up exciting segments just for you. Watch out for the YALI Experience, YALI Time with the Experts, and YALI News.
YALI, YALI, YALI. YALI, YALI, YALI. Young African leaders. Young African leaders. YALI, YALI, YALI. YALI, YALI, YALI. Young African soldiers. Young African soldiers. YALI, YALI, YALI. YALI, YALI, YALI. Young African leaders. Young African leaders. YALI, YALI, YALI. YALI, YALI, YALI. Young African soldiers. Young African
experience. And in this segment, we'll be meeting amazing alumni who are transforming the world. We're going to meet change makers, people who have participated in the Young African Leadership Initiative.
I am Rita Sunam Daglu, currently the Executive Director of No Limits Charity Organization. I'm also the current President of Accra Laboni Leo Club.
I'm Nana Osen Kwantabisa. I'm a traditional ruler from Lower Axim traditional area of the Western region where the oil and gas is being mined. I'm a social entrepreneur as well as a philanthropist.
I grew up in the western region of Ghana, Takrady, with my parents and with my siblings. I'm currently with a tech and innovation hub called iSpace Foundation, and I'm using my skills, I'm using my resources that I gained at YALI to help other entrepreneurs during our incubation and then our accelerator programs. I'm also the business development coach. So I take these entrepreneurs through the business model canvas, which we're taking through at YALI, through writing business plans, through pitching skills.
So getting YALI was another step because I used to be a very shy person. But coming to YALI, it gave me a lot of exposure.
It was a great experience for me. I loved it. I met so many people, and the practicality of entrepreneurship was broken down for us. It was a very intensive program.
It enabled me to become self-confident more. So YALI experience, that is what I went through. I
believe in Africa.
Welcome to YALI Time with the Expert. On every episode, we bring you experts in different fields of society. It is important that we hear from experts. It is important that we learn the best practices in all of our endeavors.
Jobs. A large percentage of the population is working in the informal sector, and so everyone is forced to be an entrepreneur. You know, I've never met so many entrepreneurs until I moved to Ghana. It's 90% of the population is entrepreneur, but it's in fact because people have to be, not necessarily because people want to be. So you don't, it drives an individual to always need to be thinking and working and trading and hustling.
Even for the flower rose, it has thorns on it, but it's a very beautiful flower. So clearly there will be challenges, there will be the downsides, but we always have a positive spirit and story to share, because we believe that look at the brighter side of life. You know, count your blessings in everything that you do. So for me, it is that concept that drives me to say, whatever you put your mind to it is possible. Whatever you conceive, believe that you can achieve.
I believe in Africa.
My name is Ajara Martinson, and this is YALI News from our studios in Accra, Ghana. From Ghana, West African Regional Leadership Center reaches milestone of training more than 4,000 young leaders. In Cameroon, YALI alumni chapter members hold my YALI Family Day holiday camp at Nkobison, Yaoundé.
YALI, YALI, YALI.
Ajay Martinson, and this is YALI News from our studios in Accra, Ghana. For today's episode, the bulletin are: in Ghana, YALI West Africa hosts dialogue sessions with MasterCard Foundation scholars on the sustainability of YALI. In Japan, YALI alumni, Ghanaian chef and social entrepreneur, Chef Elijah Amo-Addo, bestowed the 2018 Takeda Foundation Young Entrepreneurship Award at the annual Takeda Symposium in Tokyo, Japan. In Ghana, Catherine Morton's Women 5 kilometers to storm Accra with running, walking and dancing to inspire and empower women to dare to be great. In Cameroon, YALI alumni chapter members hold My YALI Family Day Holiday Camp at Inkobison, Yaoundé. Visit the West African Leadership Center and other center websites for upcoming training programs and opportunities. Also remember to visit the news page on our website for details of this news bulletin. Keep watching YALI TV.
YALI TV is a dedicated media channel created by young African leaders to provide a platform for the youth in Africa to share their achievements with the rest of the world, and also get the opportunity to share their thoughts and opinions on matters and issues affecting the development of our continent. My name is John Apia.
YALI TV presents amazing segments that takes you into the life of young change leaders across the continent. YALI News, YALI Time with the Experts, YALI Experience, and much more.
I believe in Africa.
Are you a youth leader, civic leader, entrepreneur, or involved in policy making? YALI TV is here for you. Follow us on all social media pages or visit our page www.yalitvonline.com. Don't miss a day. YALI TV, inspiring leadership.
Keep watching YALI TV.
Yali, yali, yali. Yali, yali, yali. Young African soldiers. Young African soldiers. Yali, yali, yali. Yali, yali, yali. Young African leaders. Young African leaders. I believe in Africa. I believe in Africa.
Welcome back from the break. I hope you had a very exciting moment watching some of our productions that YALI TV has done over the last couple of months. During the COVID-19 restrictions and the lockdowns, we had the opportunity to launch one of our initiatives called a YALI iReport. As a result of iReport, we reached more than 25 African countries where we spoke to the leadership of our alumni chapters of the Mandela Washington Fellowship and the regional leadership centers. We had alumni leaders speak on their initiatives, their events, some of the interventions that they were running on during the COVID-19 period. Also, as a result of that, we've had productions such as the YALI iReport. We've had the YALI iReport, we've had the Time with the Experts, we've had the YALI Experience, and today we are having the YALI 10 years anniversary celebration, and it's been so exciting. We've had 19 productions over the past 3 months just to celebrate the 10 years anniversary of YALI. And as a result of that, we've had a number of partners. We have Blue Crest University College. We've had a number of them. Today, in the second panel of today's section, we have some of our partners who have been supporting the program up until this last edition of the first phase of our celebration. And we have in the studio 3 distinguished personalities. All things being equal, we'll have the corporate affairs manager of YALI TV joining us as well. We'll go for a quick break, and then right after that, I'll introduce our guests.
I believe in Africa. I believe in
I'm Eunice Mano Bagi, the correspondent from Nigeria. Keep watching YALI TV.
I believe.
I'm Adikalias Kamara from Sierra Leone. Keep watching YALI TV.
I believe in Africa.
My name is Absa Samba, a correspondent from the Gambia. Keep watching YALI TV.
I'm Bilam Leticia, correspondent from Cameroon.
Welcome back from that short break. So I'll use the opportunity to introduce my guest in the studio. I have no other than Mama Lou, so we call her, but she's called Sherry Thompson. She is a consultant, and she'll be telling us more about what she does. Mama Lou, you're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
You've been with us at the
more of what I do. You really want me to start with all of what I've been doing? You don't want to do that one.
We also have with us a distinguished family. They are the co-founders of the Pan-African Leadership. It's a Pan-African Youth Leadership Association, PALA. We have Reverend Terry Ofori and Dr. Nana David Ofori. Okay, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, you're welcome.
You look gorgeous.
Thank you. You too.
You look very African.
Yes.
I'm looking very Western.
Yes, yeah. That's the distinguish between
it is.
Yeah, that's exactly
Western,
what you're talking about.
That makes a mix, right?
Yeah.
We have a mix here.
Yeah.
It's a global
Very
reality.
inclusive. Very inclusive, yes.
We are very excited. I mean, talking about the 10 years anniversary celebration of YALI, I'll start with Sherry Thompson. You have been such a personality that has driven a lot of young enterprises, initiatives. Since I've known you, I mean, I've been following you. You power so many initiatives. Please tell us what you do. We want to know what you do.
You don't? We don't have time.
Yeah,
Seriously, we don't.
As much, as little as you can.
Okay.
Just tell us about what you do.
In the space of sanitation, because that's why they're calling me Mama Lou, I advocate for toilet sanitation. One of the things I found very disturbing was when we would actually build a school without toilets. What do we teach our kids to do? You know, no more pooping like puppies or dumping like dogs. We're human beings with dignity. So you can't build a school without a toilet facility. It's not possible. And then you have young ladies who go into their puberty and menstrual cycles, and they don't have a toilet. What do? They stay home. So we noticed that our young women were staying home because they can't deal with that situation in school because there was no toilets. So that's one of the things that I'm passionate about. Right. Okay, I've lost friends because I started talking about that stuff at the dinner table. The next thing I'm passionate about is renewable energy.
Okay.
And 2015, I won the Negawatt competition for energy efficiency. Negawatt was a World Bank competition that basically addressed resource efficiency and energy efficiency.
Right.
And we were in the middle of Doomso.
Mm-hmm.
So we were excited about trying to figure out what to do with that little energy crisis. And I came up with sunshade energy. And it's separate words, sun, shade, energy. You can Google it. And things come up. 5 years later, I'm still looking for prototype development funding. But that's why young people gravitate towards me, because I'm struggling just like they are. I'm struggling too, okay? So it's not easy trying to start a company. It's not easy trying to start 4 companies, but I'm a conglomerate in the making. 2018, I was made brand ambassador, Made in Ghana goods. I think they tapped me for that because I had been looking at the trade in Africa, within Africa, and we started out with a piece called the Kenya Trade Expo Ghana, KTEG. And we had Kenyans come and show us what they were making, their stuff, and we showed them what we were making, and we were actually the first two countries to sign the AFTEC, the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement. We're up there as 1 and 2 because of those bilaterals. They were pretty strong, and we've been having a good time with that. So trade is the next thing I do, and it's not only product trade but services trade. And I just finished facilitating a services trade piece where Ghanaians can actually go and be part of a telecommunication group in UK and make pounds.
Wow.
Awesome. So when they come back, they can build their homes, they can put their kids through school, you know, and so that's a part and parcel of what we've always had. We've always had human resource that were skilled, that knew what to do and when to do it. Coming back though, I am for Made in Ghana, Made in Africa, and I really want us to concentrate on making our own stuff and working with our own things. In media, we got to tell our own story. That's it. Digital media, we have to tell our own story. Social media, we have to talk about our own situations, circumstances. We have to build our own content. I am a WhatsApper. I got to WhatsApp and it was like, you know, I don't do Instagram. Facebook, I'm not enamored with. I got Facebook for business, but nah, not happening. Twitter, I'm not tweeting because the last guy that was president was such a troll on that piece that I just, no, I'm not going to go there. Snapchat, that's not for me. I'm not trying to Snapchat anybody. And so LinkedIn, every now and then I'll get on, but I'm not really happy with that either because it just didn't fit me. WhatsApp, when it was created, I was like, yeah, this fits me. So that's where I am right now. I have over 40 chat groups, and I literally wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, don't get down until 10:30 in the morning, engaging with people on WhatsApp. It is the fastest growing social media platform in Africa.
I think it's the most effective communicating tool. For instance, with YALI TV, our operational teams operate on WhatsApp. So we have YALI TV Cote d'Ivoire, YALI TV Liberia, and then we have YALI TV Workroom. So when we want to give information to the team in the countries, we just communicate. So I think I side with you so much. It's a good working tool as well as for fun as well.
Amen.
So, Madam Sherry, we'll come back to you for your take on the substantive issue for discussion. I'll go to the euphories. We'll start with ladies first, as usual. So, Reverend, tell us about yourself. What do you do and what is Pele about? And then we'll have Doctor also add up some few. So, about yourself as an individual, what you do professionally, and a little bit about Pele. Then we'll have Doc talk about what he does as a professional, and then you also talk a little bit about Pele.
Okay, I'm Reverend Terry Ofori. I am an ordained Presbyterian USA minister, and I'm a chaplain currently, and a director of religious and spiritual life at Ursinus College in Pennsylvania. So I teach ethics, vocational discernment, and I also do spiritual direction and pastoral care.
Wow.
And so I actually came to Ghana this year. I've been previously to join my husband as we were planning on working on our PALA project, the Pan-African Youth Leadership Association, and that was supposed to be a 2-week trip. I feel like Gilligan's Island, which was a 4-hour tour. Which
the weather started getting
yes,
rough. The
yes.
tiny ship was tossed.
And the country shut down the day before we were supposed to return to the U.S. And so I've always been called to Africa. I've done missions here previously. And so I said, I think there is a purpose and a plan in the pandemic. And so I sought the Lord about that. And so, interestingly enough, I did feel led to call Mama Lou, actually. I had met her on a previous trip to Ghana, and she introduced me to YALI TV. I feel one of her ministries is connecting people. Right. And that is a very important ministry that sometimes is overlooked. But I believe that that's one of her gifts. And so here we are today because of her connection. And we are with the Pan-African Youth Leadership Association, which we have 3 sort of philosophies about restoration, reconnection, and reconciliation between Africans on the continent and in the diaspora. And the underpinning of those 3 philosophies is really Sankofa, which means going back to get what you lost. And also Ubuntu, which is a collective resourcing of human resources and the way that we think about what we do. I am because, you are, and so we are, as opposed to an individualistic model that is more Western. So how can we as Black people, we say Black in the diaspora, how do we as Black people come together and really make change, but also to heal, which is why we have restoration as a pillar, because there has been some fractures and some divisions, some theft, some trading of human resources. And so we've been spread all over the world. So how do we then gather those human resources first? Because we're interested in that, so that we can then tap into our natural resources.
Good.
So perhaps my husband.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Doc, please tell us a little bit about yourself and add more to the organization's operations and objectives.
Okay. Well, as you know, my name is Dr. Ofori. I am an elder and a former moderator of the Presbytery of New York City in New York. I was the head of, ecclesia head of 97 churches, a total of 17,000 members. Wow. And I became also the chair of the cabinet of 300 commissioners. And so I have to moderate every month. And that is my religious part. Then professional side, I am a sports medicine specialist. I am into rehabilitation medicine.
That's a huge market in Africa.
It is, yeah. The rehabilitation medicine. I specialize in injury recovery, pain management, things that bring people peace and comfort, and restoration of life, and return to work. So that's, my work. I also have a doctorate degree in occupational health and safety engineering. Wow. So I was working for OSHA for a while, and then I broke up and set up my own clinics, medical rehabilitation clinics in New York. I had 3 offices. I ran them simultaneously with my colleagues. So we developed a multi-specialty medical group that provided orthopedic, neurology, pain management, physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy. So that was our practice. So we hired all medical staff, all healthcare staff. I also own 2 home care agencies that right now they call it mobile medicine. So we go to people's house, those who are vulnerable and those elderly and children with disability that cannot move, we go to the house and treat them. I created many structures and business models in New York that supported my business. For instance, when somebody get hurt or have a motor vehicle accident and cannot the first 6 weeks is the horrible time.
Painful.
You can move your pain, your joints, your bones, and so I designed a program where I created a transportation business within the medical group to go and pick up these people, bring them to the
medical
center.
pickups.
Yes, so I created that. That is 1998. Now all the medical centers in New York are all copying everything that I did. Yeah. Also on the senatorial life, on the political life, I helped New York City, Bronx especially, create people who are disabled or dislocated, unemployed, those with health and social disparities, disadvantaged group, become useful in the community by working 4 hours in the morning instead of collecting check or what do you call it, unemployment check or disability checks. If you can manage to do something, you can come and create that. Go to the parks and pick up garbage on the streets and put them in the bag, and then you get a check. So it became a project that has been instituted and is developed into those who are on welfare. They use that to help them get back to work, and they feel that they can connect and go back to. I also supported a prison to work program where we go to the prisons and treat them physically when those who are injured or have any problems. And then from the ecclesia side, we have ministers and churches that, ministers who help them with their soul searching, spiritual development, spiritual formation.
Okay.
And that became part of what I did. On top of it, I created a non-for-profit organization that help pastors and churches, especially immigrant pastors who come to U.S. from Ghana and Nigeria. When they come in, they don't know the groundwork, how to get their business going. So I help them to create churches and to bring people together to help expand their church and grow their churches. So I did so many other things. For here,
he's almost as bad as I am.
So for PELA, we are. It's from all those activities that we both do that help us
inspired you
to bring together a knowledge base from being African American, being pure African, naturalized American. So, and I have all my kids being American. So it becomes a very mandatory for me to really get into this. So we got sponsored by the Presbyterian Church of New York City and Long Island Presbyterian, and they gave it a seed fund to start the program. So we created a non-for-profit, and here we are expanding. We have created some few relationships from orphanages to widows and seamstress in school to educational programs that we go to the homes of disadvantaged children who cannot afford to go to school to start teaching them. So we're expanding our territory of partnerships, and I think what we are trying to do, and as my wife said, is to bring the diasporan, the African American in the diaspora to integrate and sort of have an exchange with the Africans on the continent in terms of knowledge exchange, skill transfer, leadership training, entrepreneurship, skill development, and we have also canvassed other universities and programs that, relationships there that can also bring their resources to join what we are doing here, to expand it. So we are very grateful that we are here, and here we are with YALI, which also has a unique channel of connection that conforms to our 5 pillars, the 5 pillars of our operation: the academy, the scholars, the pilgrimage, the design, and the pilgrimage in design, and the summit. The summit being intergenerational gathering of young and old coming together to share ideas and to have a transfer of knowledge and also absorption of old knowledge, hence going into our symbol or logo, the Sankofa, so that the young can go back to the past and learn what we actually left over. So that's the Sankofa. And the Ubuntu is what my wife explained, that we all feel good about one person coming from a community having a successful or rewarding gift or award that the whole community enjoys. And so that is how we are trying to do this.
Accomplishment is not individual, it's communal.
It's a communal, yes.
Okay? And we are community people. Africans are literally community people.
Right.
When the chief says, make this kente, it doesn't belong to the weaver that has made it. It belongs to the community because the chief represents the community. So we have a hard time thinking of things as African people as individuals. Because we don't realize that, and when we do, oh, it's mine, I can't share it, that kind of thing. Now, digitalization and social media says we've got to share. We've got to tell the story. We've got to go out there and let the world know and understand us. So we don't have time for individual anymore. We must talk about who we are as a people collectively.
Interesting. So I'll pick some few comments from our viewers who are watching us live on Facebook. I have both Tooth Jock. Wow, I love that name. Is watching from Sudan. And we have Blessing Jessica Bonsi, who is one of our correspondents from Nigeria. She's also watching. We have Daud Ajalo all the way from the Gambia. They have joined us in the live feed. We have Benjamin Koble. They are watching from Togo. And he said they are enjoying the discussions of day 2. We have Davis Musu from Liberia. He said you are following. I have a name here, it's written in Arabic. Pardon me for not knowing how to mention your name. You are watching from Morocco. We have Foley Dussel. You are also watching from Togo. And we have Timmy Miga. You are also watching from somewhere in Africa. Drop your comments and questions for any of our panelists as we run up day 2 and the final program in our phase 1 of the YALI at 10 celebrations on YALI TV. It's such an interesting experience. Talking on behalf of my team, in the past few weeks, post COVID-19 restrictions and lockdowns, we've had the opportunity to work with our colleagues. We had the opportunity to have live stream feeds from all over the continent where people are sharing stories on what they are doing by building technology platforms for education. Some were giving donations in their communities from all over the continent. Young people coming up with solutions. But what we realized was, if we did not have YALI TV, who was going to report all these interventions? So we came to the realization that it's so important that in this time that we want to tell our stories, we need to also build our own platforms. But without partnership, those realities will never come to pass, because we had the partners like the US Embassy, we had the Department of State, the YALI special coordinators coming to support us and getting us the right people we needed to speak, the right resource people. Then we had domestic organizations and individuals, consultants like Madam Sherry, and then organizations like yourself, playing one role or the other to ensure that this happens. So when we talk about the relevance of media and digital media telling the African story, partnership is so relevant in achieving this goal. And that's why we're having this discussion. Going forward, for instance, in the discussion we had yesterday and today, it's obvious that capacity building, resources, and technical inputs are very critical to ensure that we build the right platforms and the right foundation to have strong institutions that can tell the African story as a media entity. So I'll come to you, Mama Lou. Let me call you Mama Lou. I'm very comfortable. You have been an engineer for the mobilization of information and resources as well as technical people. How relevant is partnership in grooming young Africans to become the custodians of telling the African story?
Well, one of the things, Selassie, I'm going to spend some time with you with, is showing you some of the other young people that have amazing networks and you building with them as well. YALI TV, because you've decided to take this space, you can actually show what all these other young people are doing in their corners and places and spaces. You can actually now acknowledge that young people are doing something. We have a tendency to think that everybody is just, tweeting and Instagramming and, Facebooking, and they're just talking nonsense. You people are not talking nonsense. You are building platforms. You are building networks. And the partnership that you're going to see from me is to connect you to some of these amazing platforms and networks that you might not know about. These young people that we need to shine the light.
Right.
This is what they're doing in that corner. And some of them are not young.
Yeah.
Some of them are actually older.
Experienced young people.
But honey, they are flowing. Okay? We have women like Cecilia Aneka Foundation. This woman pulls 2,000 young people together in the Volta region for camp. And I mean, for the month. Oh, and she invites me and I'm like, can we do that next year? Because just the thought of it with all these people, and she's helping young women who, early pregnancy, helping young people who really are into, they've been doing drugs, doing other things that, because education is not where it should be, and their life is, their economics is not where it could be. So these are the types of things, the types of stories. I like Wodimaya, Ghana baby. You got to get with him, because yes, he's out there viral on YouTube, but he should be viral on YALI. So get him here. Tell him to share stories here at the network, okay? So that people zoom in to YALI and see that content here, not just on YouTube. YouTube is starting to now, do some things, take some information down. People can't say this, people can't do this. We're noticing some things. So this is the time we got to build our own. Because we got to say, you can't kind of manipulate what we're thinking. You can't manipulate or try to give us what you think we should have.
Our uncut stories.
We want uncensored. If the only thing I say is we shouldn't be violent, okay? But Malcolm X, let's tell the story. By any means necessary. What are the means? What becomes necessary? Okay, so we have to express ourselves. History is his story. We've got to tell our story. And we have a story. And we have a tendency not to tell our story because we want to copy. One of my pet peeves, young men with their pants down the backside. No. Your content has got to be your own original something.
We must not lose our identity.
You must not lose your identity. Okay? Just because you see something done someplace else, understand what that is really before you do it. Okay? We have Kumasi kids. What is that? America? Oh, Lord, have mercy. Hallelujah. You know, I don't mind the fusion, but
to what end?
What are we doing here? Okay? Fusion has got to serve a purpose. To what end are we fusing? So what is the content really going to accomplish? What is the communication really going to accomplish? We've got to look at that, and we've got to be really deliberate.
Yes, very intentional.
Very intentional. Very deliberate as to what we are communicating and how we communicate.
There's something I love about the United States of America. I remember in the 70s, into the 80s, and then the 90s, the film industry intentionally communicated the United States as a superhero nation. You watch a movie, there's a war between this country, and America comes to save the day. The American Army, the US Marine Corps, then we have the superheroes, and you realize the world war is always happening in America. Then America saves the day. It sort of planted the sensationalism of America and making America the superpower that saves the whole world in every sector. I agree with you on that aspect, that we must also be intentional to push content that makes the African a champion of the world.
Yes.
And I believe we are champions because when it comes to the economics of the world, Africa, for that matter, provides a lot of resources.
Everything.
If not everything, almost everything, from food to even natural resources,
And
the
And
mineral
people.
resources,
And
and
people.
the human
Starting with
capital.
Okay?
When it comes to
We're still providing human capital.
exactly.
Okay.
So we have to be very intentional. I agree with you, and I believe that all those who are watching us, majority of those who are watching us, believe that we must be intentional in telling our story and imposing the identity of the African also as a champion to the rest of the world. So I'd love to find out from you, Reverend. The diaspora has a key role to play when we speak about human capital. We have Africans who are media moguls. We have Africans who are into production, top level, world-class production. How do we build a bridge? Because we're talking about partnership. How do we build a bridge, especially with an organization like PELA? What role can we play going forward, knowing that we have a platform like YALI, we have a platform like YALI TV, we have PELA. How do we pull in this huge human capital to exchange the information they've gathered over the years that has been passed on from generation to generation up onto this generation to affect the young African, to ensure that we build the platforms that tell the African story?
Thank you. I really love the notion of storytelling. I consider myself to be a narrative theologian, which means actually that you listen to people's stories and connect with them there. If you notice, Jesus really never preached to people. That's the mode of actually that's used in mission and colonization and imperialization, where you have a preacher standing up and speaking to a mass of people with no interaction. Jesus actually, every time someone came to him, he would say, well, who do you think that I am? Well, who's your neighbor? He would ask them questions to see where their worldview was, and then he would jump in at that point. And so we don't ask enough questions, and we don't listen to people. And so I think as a narrative theologian that we listen and uplift the voice of those who've been marginalized. If you notice, Jesus listened to people that most people didn't talk to, particularly women. And so that was his focus. And somehow it's been transformed into another methodology. But Jesus was on the ground being social, and he was condemned for being social. And so I have a story about storytelling. When I was a student at Harvard, I was a tutor in the Lowell House. We have a house system in Harvard. They have a similar one at Oxford. And Mark Zuckerberg was a student there at the time. So every semester we had an actual Facebook, which I have since displaced, but I'm sure it's probably very valuable. But it was an actual hard copy book. And before the semester started, they would send us out a prompt and say, what do you think about this? What do you have to say? What are you thinking about? So it was like a think tank. And so the professors as well would also, and we would publish it annually. So everyone came prepared to have the best thoughts. And after graduating from Harvard, I worked for Harvard. And one of the things about admission, you can have a 4.0, but if you don't have a vision to touch the world, you're not going to Harvard. So everyone has to have an idea. So I recall at the time, well, Mark Zuckerberg ended up getting kicked out because of this, but they asked us a question. They said, can we take your thoughts and share them with Stanford, Princeton, Yale, and Cornell? That was what originally how Facebook became a platform. And so we all had to give permission to share our thoughts because it was our, personal information. And then somehow, between the time that we gave that permission, it became something else. But I remember the conversation around Facebook was, we have to be intentional about influence. And so one of the things why people like Harvard, I mean, of course it's a good school, but one of the things about it is that there's an understanding of systems that's taught. So I've also graduated from Princeton following Harvard, and they have a different model. But one of the things that I love about Harvard is they say to you, you have to influence thought. They don't teach you to get a job anywhere. They teach you how do you influence. So if you look at the world leaders and things, a lot of them do come from Harvard. So they teach you how do you influence the way people think. And once you do that, you have economy to back you up. So so this is a system of thinking, storytelling. And so the other thing we have to remember is that algorithms are beyond that story. They are watching what you say. And so there's money attached to the story. So that's one of the things that Mark Zuckerberg did. There are algorithms built into that platform.
In fact, just to add up to what you're saying,
very important.
You realize that when you make a search,
Everything
the next time,
is recorded.
everything that comes, every ad is just what you just said.
So
And even
that's
I
the
was
thing
told,
we need to think about for our economy.
I was told something, Ref, that even with conversations,
they
by the
hear
time you
it.
finish making a
Yes,
call,
it
that
is.
how can I get
Yes, they do.
how they call it, a Bluetooth speaker? The next advert you are seeing pop up on Facebook is Bluetooth speaker.
And it works here. And so having seen that actual, being sat down in a meeting and saying, this is what we're going to do. People don't realize that people actually sit down and do that. I've been a part of lots of meetings where they say, no, this is what Harvard's going to do. We're going to influence them to change this system. And it's amazing. And particularly for people of color. So I feel like I've been blessed to be in those meetings.
Okay.
For people of color, we are the influenced. And so we have to begin to understand that because we are the consumers of the world.
Absolutely.
And so they target, how are we going to make these black people think about whatever? And not necessarily black people, but people of color, people that are oppressed. And so there is another system that is at work. There's theories about reauthoring, because Harvard and these think tanks of the world, they say, okay, we're going to do here, and then Yale will say, okay, literally I've been in these meetings because I work for them. Okay, Yale, what are you going to do to influence this shift in culture? And so the whole social media was actually very well thought out. Right. And you have people on there playing and putting all their information. That's why there's platforms and they're tied to economy. You have this many Africans on social media, they have to be able to change. So what I've done, because I'm aware of that, when I go on my phone, because Siri is also involved, and so is Cortella, they're involved. You have to be aware of that. And so it's important for us to understand the world systems and how we are very critical to the world system, but we're unaware of it. So I say, you know what? I told my husband, I like shopping. And so I say, listen, I say on my phone, because I'm not from Ghana, I really need a Clinique product. I'll say that. And then when I do my search, all the places will come up. And I'll say, well, this is the product I'm looking for, the inventory. They will show me the inventory. I've been to Ernest Chemist, for example, and I said to them, I'm here to pick up this particular product. They said, well, we don't have that. I said, oh, yes, you do. They said, we don't have that. I said, well, I actually just looked at your back inventory. You do have it. I went there and it was there.
Wow.
So we have to understand how we can influence, and we can do that here in Ghana. I do it all the time at the stores, and my husband's always like, I'm like, oh, I know, and they'll say, well, we don't have that. I said, oh, yes, you do have it, and it's been proven true all the time.
Wow.
And so, and the pricing of how they do things, so I'll say to them, well, you can't charge me this because in East Legon it's, $15 more. So I'm really into that because I want to see how the power of that social media. So let's reauthor. That's the other thing, and then I'm going to stop. Reauthoring is about, so there's an authorization of our stories from colonization, from slavery. We need to then reauthor myths. And so when we have to be intentional about everything, like Mama Lou was saying, that we put out and create a new story. So everything that we do, talking on the phone, unfortunately, even on WhatsApp, all of that stuff is in an algorithm. And so one of my students actually, who I hope to get on YALI TV one day, co-founded Data for Black Lives. So she watches all the algorithms. Even algorithms are used in who they imprison and how many sentences they give people and how much they spend. So all of that, how much money should they put in the educational system for this child? And so she tracks the data along with another one of my students, and they actually got a grant from Google. But we have to connect this information. And so I've been so blessed to be, I've been like the fly on the wall. And I'm like, okay, people need to know there's systems at work, and how do we make that system work for us?
Excellent.
I'm segueing. I'm
so happy because
you see,
Mama Lou.
I turn off my GPS. Nobody should know where I've gone. The next thing that Google asks me is, how did I like Blue Crest College?
Yes.
Mind you, my GPS is off. How do they know that I visited this place? I think my GPS is off. Obviously, something's on.
Exactly.
Okay? These are things that you must be aware of and you must understand.
IP is always active.
You must be aware of and you must understand. You must be aware of and you must understand. They know exactly where you are at all times of the day. So, how do you flip the script? How do you flip the script? What do we need to do intentionally to not be so victimized?
I mean, we need to be at a position of also producing and also getting the benefits of it.
Exactly. So here I am, I did a search, and I don't know that, what you just said is amazing. Algorithm is there. The next thing I know, every ad that comes up has to do with what I just searched. You can't even search. If you come up with an idea for a company, don't search if they got the web.
Exactly.
Don't do it.
It's gone.
Don't do it. It's gone. They're waiting for you to search the name. And once you do that,
the domain is gone.
So, if you're going to keep a secret, keep it long enough so as whereas you can go and register it and then start doing what you need to do. Okay? That's intention. We need to learn about the system at hand. You cannot just be Facebooking and sending chat and Snapchat and Instagramming, and you cannot be just doing this and not understand the systems in place.
It's true. That is true. That's true.
Doc, I mean, I'm still on the point of, there was a time when we're growing up, I'll talk about myself on behalf of the youth a youth populace of Africa. There was a time when there was so much difference between the African, let me use the word black, even though I believe always using African. The black man we see in America on TV was so different from us. Why? Because of language, the way they spoke, the way they dressed. But now that reality is closing up. We just had a year of return. That reality is closing up. So I know that, okay, Will Smith is just like me, but he's in America.
Right.
So there's a lot we can do together economically.
Right.
Not just for the fun of it, but economically. And I also know that, okay, Morris Chestnut wants to come to Ghana. He wants to come here and chill in maybe waterfalls. He wants to go to an African waterfalls. He wants to go deep down to the countryside and feel African. So I'm still on this point. What can we do to bridge this gap consciously, so that, knowing very well, someone asked me yesterday, why are you so conscious about communication? Communication, because it is what will tell the story for us to know where we are going, where we are coming from, and what we need to do. So what can we do with these partnerships that we are building up to bring in this human resource that has been really prepared? Look, when the Reverend was speaking, I was happy in my heart, because I knew that is the kind of information we need to be discussing right now for us to be able to build our systems. We need to understand how systems work to build our systems. So what can we do with regards to partnership in bringing this human resource from the diaspora to Africa?
That is a very interesting and important link, the missing link that we are all aspiring to achieve or to bring to light, to bring that relationship together. The diasporian blacks, for instance, there's a lot of what do you call it, hurt, a lot of emotional, a lot of physical, a lot of intellectual deprivation. Even when you create it, they take it away from you. When you are able to excel somewhere, they want to make sure you don't even exist, and that somebody owns it. So we've lived in a culture where the black person or African American, you have before you excel to become what you want to be or who you are, you have to work 3-4 times more than what a white person would do.
Exactly.
To be noticed. So, but regardless of that, the black Americans or the Africans who are in the United States or in the diaspora are determined to excel regardless. And there's a lot of chances we take risk to make ourselves known, and they don't get scared. For instance, you will see a black person leading a whole big industry, or for instance a hospital. Most of the U.S. hospitals are headed by Ghanaian doctors as managing directors.
And you wouldn't even know that.
And you wouldn't know. And there's so much progress.
Wow.
But guess what? When they are here,
they become hidden
we are not recognized. They are not recognized when they are in their own country.
Wow.
Why? Because we feel that when we go outside our comfort zone to outside countries, to different territories, that's where we have a glory. We can excel and make money and all that. But we forget the fact that if you leave your community that has been built with the culture, social metrics, all those mixtures that brought you up, if you leave it and go somewhere else, you're going to start from the bottom. Unless you go there and you're lucky and somebody lifts you up and bring you to a highest point in your life. But most of the people who are doing well in the United States or in the diaspora, they work very hard. So why don't we turn around and look inside our circles, educating our children? This is why Taylor, it's so
very
pious and pushing to look inside our territory, look inside our communities, look inside our homes, look inside our small resources that we have. What can we create? What kind of seed can we put in here that can produce fruit that we don't have to run to somewhere else to look for.
All the time.
You know, so to answer the question that you asked, we need to educate, and the education and knowledge acquisition is important to the continent Africans who are here to know that, hey, you don't have to go to United States to be creative or to be innovative or to create your create a new thing, or
dream.
Yeah, you can dream your dream right here by what we need to do, the responsibility of the continent, the government, and the society, that we have to support the youth. We have to create the avenue for them, bring the platform that allows them to grow, innovate, inspire them to dream big dreams. And so here, because of the colonization and lack of our own understanding of our history, we have been suppressed. It's been like a scar, emotional, spiritual scar that we are living with. The colonization is causing us not even to approve ourselves or to value ourselves. We always think something from outside is better than me or better than us. So it's up to us to integrate the good information, the good training that we have. Believe it or not, Ghana has a very good education. When we go out, when I left my country from University of Science and Technology, Kumasi, and I went out there and I was grabbing degrees like this. It's like easy for us to move through this system. But if somebody comes from the United States and have a degree, you think, oh, this is a very tough #1 degree. But we made it here, and you go there, it's like you are 3 times upper, in doing good things there. So if we bring all what we have to do for youth right now, that's why we have our pillars. It started from the academy, the summit, the scholars, and all. It's all centered around education, culture, social changes, and empowerment of our young people to be creative and innovative within here. Instead of thinking going back there is going to be, let's know. It's
the grass is greener here.
It's greener here. We have
under your feet.
Yeah, the introduction you gave as a resource place, the whole world depends on Africa.
Yes.
To grow.
But I do think that what has historically cost Africa is the robbing of human resources. And so I think that getting those human resources and connecting with them is actually going to be the key, because I don't think they're going to be able to do it alone, because there's information that's in the diaspora that's needed here.
Very, very critical.
And so but there's a lot of misinformation of stories. African Americans sometimes have misinformation about Africans. However, I do find that Africans don't know much about people in the diaspora. They don't care to know, but they need to know. And so I think that's where, for me, I have a passion about educating Africans about the diaspora. So, for example, if you take Kwame Nkrumah, the independence of Ghana would not have happened had he not gone to Lincoln University, was a historically black house.
It was inspired by
Martin Luther King. Would not have occurred. And so that should be the story, that what needed to happen in Africa is not going to happen.
That is a major blueprint for the real African emancipation, because
Okay, so then ask yourself the question, why has that story not been told?
Because I think Africans really do not care to know.
Why
do they not know? They
don't we have a movie
to tell the whole story
that tells about that?
That was the power connection. When he met MLK,
Bam.
inspired him. He said, "No,
Okay.
I'm coming back home. I'm coming to liberate my people."
What went down?
And
What
I'll
went
tell you
down?
why
What
they did
happened?
that, yes.
Okay, now they make a lot of movies in Hollywood, in Bollywood, in Nollywood about junk. Doesn't tell anything about the lightning, the storm, the connectings. I have yet to hear and see a story about Yasantua. Everybody's calling me Santua. I'm like, really? Where's that story? What was she doing?
Well, that's why we need the African Americans in the diaspora, in
that
Hollywood.
is the main point. This is
and I have
where we
friends,
are right
Will
now.
Smith is one of them. We can reach out to him. But I think that's why we have this organization.
And that's why
we
we have
want
a
to
discussion.
reconcile people.
It's so important.
And so it's critical for both of us. And the reason why the whole Pan-African movement started, the reason why Martin Luther King and Kwame Nkrumah got together was because if you think about the Israelites, think about Israel. They created Israel after World War II, so that when things went down again, they had a place to go. That's just the summary, the on the street summary of that whole thing. And that was actually the intention. Okay, so we're about to start a civil rights movement. We might get kicked out of here. Where are we going to go if this thing doesn't work out? And so integration was one part of that, but also expansion into the Pan-African movement was part of the civil rights movement that somehow got cut off, probably because of misinformation. And so I hear lots of stories that people are just unaware, but of the history that is so critical. We need to keep, moving that forward. This country is independent because of a Pan-African movement. Let's continue that. And so I think it's critical that we understand the histories and the importance of our reconciliation, which is critical.
And it's not a political thing.
That's
you know, we politicize everything.
This is more economic than political.
It is definitely, it's not, I don't know if I can call it even economic at this point. When you're saying you want to make that connection, that kind of connection, that is DNA cultural connection.
And
that's in the bone.
That's soul.
The soul. That's it. Yeah. That's a soul tie. You got to find your soul ties. What's my soul tie with you? What do we have in the DNA that speaks? Heradikasa.
I would like to say one more thing. They talk about the year of return and the healing that happens, but the healing that happens from people that were decimated of 12.5 million of their people, obviously that hurt and crippled, taking the strongest people and the most, taking all those people out. Wouldn't that have hurt if somebody came and took your kid? So you're hurting as well. And so it's not just about us being restored. That's why restoration is one of our platforms. You need to be restored because you may not even know what you're missing. Exactly. And so I find that, a lot of us like, oh, the African. No, you need to return as well. Yeah. And you need to understand what was taken away from you that you need. And so we both need each other. It's not just, one way. This is the thing where we have to sit down and, I'm with Mama Lou on this. Sometimes we talk about economy because we don't want to become capitalist again. We don't want to mimic the Western system. No, because that prioritizes money over people.
Good.
But we want to lift up
the enslaved thing was about.
Yeah.
Prioritizing the money aspect of the people over the people who were enslaved.
And I will tell you that if you want to really see a year of return, that was about making economic partnerships. But Black lives matter. Why do they say that? They're not saying black money matters. People want to buy black, but the life that's attached to the soul of our people have to be healed. And if we want, the economy will come secondarily.
When the lives
but we have to be restored as a people. You've been robbed from, we've been stolen. We've got to get that clear. And then I believe it has to be a spiritual movement. Of course, I'm going to say that. But I do believe so because I don't think it's an economic movement. You can't just skip over the relationship. You can't skip over. If you stole something from me and then I said, can you buy something? No. I got to give you that back. And so before we can do business together, we have to heal our souls. And so that's why I believe restoration and reconciliation is the key to any, and then the economy will come because we'll be friends. But you have to have the relationship.
Yeah. And in addition to that, there's also another group of humanity that do not see the progress of the black person. So whatever movement you make to excel or go to from one step to another, there's a team who's looking at suppressing you so you don't get to your destination. I'll take whatever you're using to get there, I'll take it away. I'll take your rights, I'll take your health, I won't give you healthcare, I won't give you this. Now, these are the things that they're using to break down our pillars.
Common enemies. Common enemies.
And this is what causes the racism, because they think that if you become a better person and they cannot become who you are, you'll be better than them, and they don't want you to get to that level. So no matter how the black population or black race moves steps forward, there's also another group that is going to take you down from.
Interesting.
So you take 3 steps forward, and then they walk your step back. So there's always a cycle of revolution over revolution, and you can see from Jim Crow time to all those times that black people went through from slavery, trying to emancipate, trying to release ourselves. I mean, I'm a Ghanaian, but I feel, because I've been there for so long, I can smell what has gone on, though I didn't see them. I mean, hence, my wife is a very important part of me, because anytime I reminisce what I have seen when I've been there and being trusting myself and being into certain areas where my color prevents me from being the head of a company or the same person that I am training, he earns 1/3 more than I do, and I'm training him to be somebody that I know more than, and these are things that really demoralize some of our black folks, because when you see that there's no end, you think everything is blocked, you are just like, you hit the wall. But it's somebody, and it's planned. It's planned in our legislation, it's planned in our politics, it's planned in our hospital, health insurance, it's planned in our salaries. Everything is set so that you don't go beyond a certain level. This is something that we have to reverse it in our communities.
And then
the media is that
the
too.
media is where
The
you
media
do
is
that
too.
education.
Yes.
The media is that too,
Okay.
because
Now-
many people cannot fit into the classroom, but we have a system.
You got your phone. You got your phone.
Yeah.
I always tell people, GTS, Google that stuff. Don't let me sit there and tell you anything. I'll be like, you have Google, you got a smartphone, Google that. Use your brain to get to where you need to go to empower yourself. And that empowerment gives you the confidence to move on to the next level.
Right.
So, here we are. We're talking about data. We're talking about content.
Right.
There's no shortage of content. But there is also this other content called fake news. Ooh, we can't go there. Everything you do must have integrity as the foundation. It must be real, it must be original, it must be true.
Right.
Now, you got people saying there's this truth, there's that truth,
Alternative truth.
there's alternative truth, there's all kind of truth. Inside, you know the truth, because the truth sets you free. And if you are sitting there and your truth is not setting you free, if you're sitting there and your truth is demoralizing somebody else, hello, black people, okay? Yes, I'm a Christian, but there's some people that are not Christians. Don't spend time talking to me about my problem being a Christian. Find your own truth within yourself, and I got mine. Let's work together with what we have together. So, my co-founder, I have something coming. I tell you, I don't want to say anything. I can't believe I'm on air. It's coming. And when it gets to you, you heard it here first. I tell you, something is coming.
You heard it here first.
You heard it here first.
You know,
YALI TV. You heard it here first.
Interestingly, Mama Lou,
And we're going to tell your story.
there's so much that right in this conversation that is so necessary that people have missed. And that is why we believe that grooming the next generation of communicators, journalists, and media practitioners is very critical to getting us to where we need to get to. The medium now, that bridge is media.
Yeah.
And thank God for technology. So as part of our contribution to ensuring that that missing link between the rich human resource or human capital in the diaspora and the yearning root in Africa, we are putting together a strong partnership. These are some of the partners, these are some of the representatives or the partners in the studio now to establish what we call the Young Africa Media Fellowship, where we'll have kingpins in the media and communication as well as PR space, and even the movie industry, grooming our content developers here in Africa. And this is going to be launched in 2021. We're just giving you a full information. The partnerships are going to be working between now and the end of the year 2020 to understand how we want to carry out this program. And the good news is that Blue Crest University College has agreed to be the academic partner to this fellowship. And we're looking forward to getting other institutions in the diaspora, at least if not one, many, that could also partner in this to make the foundation of this capacity building program solid, that it carries the DNA of the identity of the Africa. At the same time, it communicates the ethics and the standards of the industry.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, this conversation is going to go on. You're going to have these speakers come on again and again. We have some programs that we'll share with you before we close, because my producer just alerted me that our time is almost up. So what we're going to do is we're going to have comments from our panelists here on some of the things they are going to be doing in the coming months, weeks, or even years with regards to developing leadership on the continent, supporting the media space to become a relevant tool of building a bridge between the diaspora and the continent. So, Mama Lou, parting comments on what your entity as a consultancy is going to do going forward, which I know you've already been telling me behind the scene. We want to hear it. The whole of Africa wants to hear. What are we going to be doing to push this medium that we have now recognized is the solution to ensure that Africa recovers and we do Sankofa.
Recovers and rebuilds.
Yes, recovers, rebuilds. Yeah.
Okay, so you're on a platform called SFX.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
SFX Global Africa. It's a chat group. And I started this chat group maybe about 2 years ago or so.
I joined just last year.
Yeah. And on that chat group, you see models, actors, producers, writers, directors, dancers, musicians, every creative person is sitting up in there.
Yeah, even industry
captains,
heads. Yeah.
Industry heads and captains, they're there. Investors are there. Okay? Investors are there. And folks, sometimes y'all start talking and you don't realize, because you're not intentional, that somebody's looking at you and looking at how you present yourself. So I let you all sit up in there, okay? Chit chat. Okay, I've given you the space to do your chit chat. But when you start getting funky and funny, I'm like, nah, I gotta give some little, we need guidelines. We need to move to where we're collaborating on a higher level.
Right.
We can't just be gossiping. This is not, we can't be doing stupid stuff.
Right.
because we've been doing stupid stuff for a very long time. And white folk, black folk, everybody folk, we need to get to understanding ourselves and understanding what ties that we have that do bind us. I'm not the one that says white people can't help black people.
In fact, there are a lot of white people who
Can't
want to
do
belong
it.
here.
Can't do it. Can't do it. You know, some folk come over from U.S. Oh, I'm running away from, you know. We're here as a global village. And no matter what hurt
you had in the past,
leave it behind and press forward to the high calling. Okay? There is a higher calling. And that higher calling might include somebody as a destiny helper that happens to be of another race. And if you're sitting up there, oh, Ma, I can't. You've missed your destiny helper. And God is something else. He will put somebody that
is ready.
That you can't, as your destiny helper. Just so you learn something about what you need to move forward with. So I can't say, because, you know, my background is not pure African. I got Irish up in here. I can tell because when I get mad, it gets wild. It gets wild. You know, I can't sit here and talk about my ancestors because some of them ancestors don't like the other ancestors. And they up in my body trying to carry on. Oh no. God Almighty. That's who I'm worshiping.
And
that's
Mama,
my creator.
You know something I really
and he
love,
knows about me.
I really love about the platform that you've created, the SFS Global. On that very platform, you get to see the latest creatives,
yes,
the latest content,
yes,
what the country, and probably is a depiction of the continent, what the continent is thinking about, so that I know what to produce.
Yes.
And I think this is one of the key ingredients that when we roll out this fellowship, we'll need your inputs on to ensure that we are able to funnel the expectation, because we're talking about developing content for whom, for what purpose, to reach whom. So those critical points come from the industry captains. And also someone hinted me, could we get to know about the legalities and the ethics of this space of media and so very critically, this platform that you have is going to play a very key role when we roll out this program.
And that was intentional.
Very intentional. Rev, what contributions are we going to see in the coming year 2021 when it comes to us intentionally grooming and developing our human resource to tell our story in 2021?
Well, one thing I'd like to say is that I'm thankful that to live through the pandemic, and I'm not thankful that it's hurt people, but the scripture says that we should be thankful in, not for everything, but in it. And so I'm not thankful for that pandemic, but I'm thankful in it because I think it allowed people to sit down and sort of reframe, because you notice I'm really into reframing, reauthoring, and getting in a revisioning. A lot of people talked about, having 2020 vision, but you cannot have 2020 vision without some sort of a correction. So I think a lot of things were deconstructed for us, things that we thought we were seeing. So we had to look at things, yes, a reset. And so we had to, sort of reboot and recalculate. I know I had to recalculate because I was going in one direction, recalculating. And so I think for us, we are being open to that. And part of that recalculation and revisioning of our time and looking at Kairos moments as opposed to chronological time. And I believe this is a Kairos moment. And so we are looking to have a Kwanzaa marketplace in partnership with YALI and perhaps Mama Lou, Made in Africa, And we're going to have a Kwanzaa program because I find out many Africans know nothing about Kwanzaa. And it is a holiday specifically for Africans in the diaspora.
Right.
And so we plan on having that on December the 29th,
Awesome.
showcasing our artists here and encouraging those in the diaspora to buy black. We're having it on Ujamaa, which is the 4th day of Kwanzaa, which lifts up cooperative economics.
Yes.
And so I think that's also key to our health and healing, cooperative economics. And so that will be on December the 29th. Yes, I think that's all that I have to say about
Okay.
that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Doctor, I mean, we had some conversations behind the scene, and we know that you guys want to do so much in Africa. You want to do so much with leadership, and thank God we have YALI. So, just a sneak peek, what are some of the things we should expect from PELA, between PELA and YALI in 2021?
Oh, great. Our partnership is going to bring in a lot of ideas and a lot of innovations. One of them will be how to structure YALI-PELA relationship with others. It's not just our partnership alone, just YALI and all the other ones that are coming in. And then second part is how do we create a legal surveillance that will screen our production, our creation, our production of information, the dissemination of information outside.
Yeah. Right.
How do we put the legal aspect, the policies,
Like the
the
intellectual
policies,
property?
yes, policies and procedures in place, and to restrict falsehoods, false information, and
Fake news.
to take all this fake news. It's been so the reception of fake news is competing with truth. As truth is only one, and we can only have one truth, and that is what I think YALI and all the partnerships are going to build on. It's going to be our foundation, our structure, and everything. And by having 49, maybe more African countries joining it, we have to make sure that that policy exists through all our documentation, reporting, relationships that we develop outside the network, so that it becomes a station or a resource that people can come to. And then the fourth part of it is how to create all that information, have the legislation, the education, and all the other marketing tools in place so that we can then attract investments, other investors from diaspora to come in and join and help us grow. So this is what PELA is thinking, to revolutionize what you have already created. Wonderful platform, but we're going to make it better by putting in place certain specific focal instruments that will guide us, so that we don't mix our information delivery with other things that is going to make us fail or reduce the truthness of what we are reporting.
Yeah.
So when somebody is reporting from Kenya, from South Africa, it is the truth that is coming out, and the world will depend on us one day. One day, the whole world will turn to YALI Television Network and create, help us develop further what we have just started. This is just a primary crawling state. Like there's going to be time that we're going to walk, run, and start jumping. So this is the future of what I see.
I do think we should note the practical aspect of the Leadership Academy. We plan on having that in 2021 for YALI Fellows, where we do some work on our worldview and understanding cooperative economics, Ubuntu, and that type of thing, and also a pilgrimage, which we hope to enact once the pandemic has lessened.
Restrictions are
Yes, where we invite diaspora, and particularly young students between the ages of 18 and 35 to come here and have a sort of a meeting and a think tank with African young people here. And then also we have a summit that we hope to, which I think is the critical piece, and that's where the Sankofa comes in, where we bring in people like Mama Lou, the chiefs, the kings and elders, because I think we have to have a multi-generational, young people are great, but we do need to be in conversation with our elders and with the wisdom that they hold, because they've been there and they've done that. And so I think it's important for the young people to talk about their aspirations and dreams and maybe re-inspire some of the elders, but also get the elders to let us in on the wisdom that we may be lacking as young people. I think I'm part of the elders, so, but I'm saying that I think we need to have these conversations and really listen to one another. And so we hope to have that as well. And we want to do that in conjunction with the Panifest. And so we have some really wonderful ideas, and we hope to brainstorm and to expand these ideas as we talk more and learn from others on the ground here.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Wow.
So I'm gonna one of my ancestors is kicking up here. Let's not leave out the Caribbean.
Oh, well, they're included in my diaspora.
Yeah, the diaspora. Now, we got all the American folk over here.
Well, no,
I'm a Jamaican.
I'm Jamaican. My dad is from Jamaica.
Okay, see, there you go. Okay,
So,
I did not know that, Terry.
But black people are black people, but we're all kinds of people. I have Native American. We have a whole lot of stuff going on. That's what black means. It don't just mean one area. The black is an experience, actually. It's experience of being, surviving the slave trade and thriving, I would hope, wherever we are.
When you bring Mama Lou, Reverend Ofori, and Dr. Ofori in one studio, that's what happens. It has been explosive, it has been educative, it has been impactful, and I can assure you 2021 has a lot in store, but we have to be intentional about what we do, and we have begun just that. Partnership is very critical, and the media is very critical, and that's why we had the conversation. That's why we actually had this distinguished guest in the studio today. There are many others out there, but they serve as a benchmark, as a reference point, as a blueprint on what we intend to do with that huge human resource out there in the diaspora, not only in America, but there are African Americans, there are Africans in the diaspora, you have even Africans in Europe and even in Asia.
And the largest African population is in Brazil. Let's
Exactly,
not forget about South America.
Exactly, South America, even in Australia.
Yes, everywhere.
You have the Aborigines. So it's a movement, and we are very intentional about this. We want to make Africa serve the world better. It's not a political fight between a race and another race, but it's about making Africa a better producer of whatever we give the world, so that we can make the world a better place.
Amen.
So before we go off, there are some individuals who over the past weeks and months have been very helpful and critical to supporting the information that we gather at YALI TV. We want to use the opportunity to really appreciate the contribution of some of our correspondents. And if my producer is ready, we would love to especially commend Musu Davis, all the way from Liberia. Thank you so much for your contributions over the month. She actually was responsible for recording some of the activities of YALI fellows and other young people in the Republic of Liberia. Thank you so much for what you did. Also, we have another young fellow from all the way the Gambia. I wonder why they say the Gambia. The smiling coast of the Gambia, in the person of Dauda Jallo. Dauda Jallo was one of the correspondents also was responsible for bringing us up to speed with updates on the COVID-19, what some of the young fellows were doing to help support government all the way in their country, in their villages, and even as far as the countryside. He brought us pictures, videos, and it was very, very, very incredible. Thank you so much for your support. We are very hopeful next year it will not just be a mentioning, but it will be something much more.
Amen.
Also to our correspondent from Mozambique, in the person of Cremelda Macaukau, that's how I call it, but I know there's a better pronunciation. She helped us with all our Portuguese to English translations. She also brought us reports in Portuguese because
Africa is made of English, French, Portuguese, and a little bit of Spanish. So she did well to give us reports. All our reports that came up in Portuguese, she was responsible for that. She mobilized speakers for our program in Portuguese. So all the Portuguese contributors and facilitators, she was responsible for mobilizing them. We are very, very grateful to you for the support you gave us in the months that persisted through the pandemic up until now. Thank you so much. And also to our country correspondent in the Republic of Malawi. He was a YALI fellow in the Regional Leadership Center in South Africa, and he came up so strong. He actually will edit some of the reports. He picks the information, edits the reports, and then delivers it live on iReport. He was one of the most consistent reporters on iReport. We had over 4 months of broadcasts, and he was almost consistent in more than 70% of the reports that came through. We really appreciate what you did, and I'm very sure those who are watching us and are watching you will really commend you and work with you in your country and around Southern Africa because of your diligence. Thank you so much. And the last but not the least is none other than Jessica Blessing Bonzi. We had an issue where our country correspondent head had to leave us at a point. She deputized her position, took over, and did extremely well. One by far the most consistent alongside these ladies and gentlemen was Bonzi Jessica Blessing, and she'll go beyond just reporting to ask what should be done, what teams we want to report on, and you were just tremendous. I'm hoping that next year, as I said earlier, we will not just mention your names, but we'll go ahead to even give some rewards and awards of recognition to entice and also motivate others to go beyond just the immediate gratification. I'm very sure there's so much that we are planning behind the scene that we'll not allow to divulge right now. And when the time comes, we will honor you for your contributions. We'll take a message from Musu Davis. She shared a message with us earlier on before we came on set. We'll have to take that message. My producer will share it once we get ready to run off this extraordinary 2-day summit.
My name is Musu W. Davis. I am the country corresponding coordinator of YALI TV in Liberia. And I want to welcome you to the Young African Media Summit 2020. It's a summit to inspire you, especially as it relates to your career, your media career, your journalism career as a young person. So I'm encouraging you to be part of it online. You know, being a part of YALI, especially the Young African Leaders Initiative, is a lot, because I'm so excited that I am an alumni of YALI TV, or YALI, the Young African Leaders Initiative Africa. This initiative has brought so much thing to me, happiness, you know. It has developed my career over the period of time, and I am proud to say that from this training, I am a leader, a mentor, a career coach, and you can just name it. Currently, I am a program producer on Radio Bethel 103.5 FM, where I run the health program called Living Well, where we talk about preventive measures that you can take to be safe. On Living Well, we talk about disease prevention and other health problems. So this is my personal contribution given to you, you know, as a person or as a beneficiary from YALI training around Africa. So be a part of this summit, you wouldn't regret it.
Okay, we read back. Thank you, Musu Davis, for that introduction. All too soon, the 2-day summit is coming to an end, but it's not ending here. It's just transitioning into what we initially told you. We're going to be having the Young Africa Media Fellowship. I tell you, it's going to be great. Don't miss the opportunity to be part of this program when it is launched. All you need to do is keep watching our social media platforms on Instagram, Twitter, and then on Facebook, as well as on our website, www.yalitvonline.com, for further information. Ongoing currently is an input or a call for productions. We're looking forward to produce or even stream some of the content that is being developed by YALI fellows as well as other young Africans. So when you go onto our website now, all you need to do, I want to give you the right address. When you get onto our page on Facebook, you go to YALI 10. Go to the YALI 10 column. When you go there, you will see the Young Africa Media Summit. Click on it and you will see a form. On that form, when you fill it in with your details, it gives you a portion where you can share a trailer, just like what we showed earlier in the middle part of the program, a trailer of your project or an episode of your project. A team will go through it. This opportunity lasts from now. Today is 28, that's exactly 31 days. From today to the 28th of December. Just make your entries and you might just be one of the producers who have your content streamed on YALI TV in 2021. So this opportunity is open to all Africans, not only on the continent, in the diaspora. We'll be doing adverts of it. We'll be doing Facebook ads, Instagram ads, as well as Twitter ads, so that you can get more information. We want to begin this journey of all that we are so eager to do. We want to begin in our own small way. It's a big way though, but in our own small way to contribute to the bigger picture. So don't be left out of this content opportunity, content streaming opportunity. Also, once again, the Young Africa Media Summit is coming up. Bluecrest University College is part of it. The Pan-African Youth Leadership Association is part of it. Mamalu, the organization Global
Resolve Africa.
Global Resolve Africa is part of it. This partnership conglomerate is working behind the scene. We'll be announcing more specific information when we are through with our understanding, and you'll get to know who is going to be part of the mentors that are going to come up. But don't miss the opportunity to be part of this life-changing experience. We would love to use the opportunity as we close to show gratitude to the Bluecrest University College for hosting us throughout the 19 series of programs that we did. Extraordinary support, and we are so grateful to you, Dr. Anand Agrawal, and your team. We really appreciate your support. We also want to show appreciation to the U.S. Embassy in Ghana, Your Excellency, Madam Sullivan, Stephanie Sullivan. We share a name. Come on, thank you so much. You shared a message somewhere early this month. We really appreciate you, and a belated happy Thanksgiving to you and the team at the U.S. Embassy. To you, Rukmina and Liz, we really appreciate your support. You were posting every event we had, you posted it on the embassy's social media pages. That is so remarkable and really gave us a thumbs up, and we really appreciate your part at the back. Also to the team, the YALI team in Washington, Elizabeth Liu and Megan and the rest of the team. We really appreciate your support. Every event we had, they sent an email to the whole 650,000 membership group for them to participate in the program. That was a lot of support. It really counted in getting people to actually watch every program that we did. We really appreciate the support. Special thanks to the Africa Bureau at the Department of State. We know that this is the beginning of greater things to come in the coming years. Also to other partners that we not mention your names, those who participated in the programs. There are people that will be reaching out to you either by visits or by sending our appreciation in form of letters and citations. In the coming weeks, especially during the Christmas festivities, we will be showing our appreciation in a special way. Also, to you who made up time to watch us, we really appreciate everything that you did for us by sticking and staying with us. Our head of corporate affairs was supposed to give this closing remark, but I hope I did exactly what you have done. We really appreciate everything you did for us. Those of you who are French or Francophone and you had to just one way or the other just cope with us, we are coming up with French programs for you next year. The same for our Portuguese and Spanish brothers and sisters all across the world who want to hear what is happening on the continent. We'll be coming with content just to make sure you get in touch with us. There's some big news also coming, which we'll be announcing later on in the month of December. As Reverend Ofori iterated earlier, we'll be having the Kwanzaa Made in Africa market for you guys. So we'll be making an announcement pretty soon in the next coming days for you to know how you could participate either virtually or physically. We'll also be having an idea-thon. So those YALI fellows who are privileged to be in Ghana will be joining us on grounds or on site for us to have an extraordinary convergence where we'll be discussing some ideas of which we would love to implement in 2021. I wish I could say much more, but all too soon we've come to the end of the 2-day YALI celebration of media practitioners, which was the Young African Media Summit, and it was an extraordinary time with you being at the other side watching and imbibing some of the rich information that our panelists shared with you. Don't hesitate to share this link of the stream that we've watched today. Thank God it's not traditional television that is off, it is out there. We will be doing a rebroadcast also on YouTube in the next coming days, so stay tuned for the schedules for the broadcast of the 19 programs that we had in the previous series of the program. Thank you so much for being Africa at heart and in spirit. You don't need to be black to be African. All you need to do is identify our identity and believe in the continent of Africa and the people from Africa. Thank you so much for watching YALI TV, and we'll be back next time with another educative program. Bye for now.
I believe in Africa. I believe in Africa.
I'm Eunice Mano Bagi, the correspondent from Nigeria. Keep watching YALI TV.
I believe.
I'm Adikalias Kamara from Sierra Leone. Keep watching YALI TV.
I believe in Africa.
My name is Absa Samba, a correspondent from the Gambia. Keep watching YALI TV.
Africa.
I'm Milam Leticia, correspondent from Cameroon. Keep watching YALI TV.
I believe.